You're scrolling through the curated stillness of your phone. You see a friend's promotion announced in bold, confident letters. You see a colleague's perfectly composed photo, silhouetted against a foreign sunset. You see the keynote speech from a founder who is younger than you, an artist's masterpiece, a stranger's impossible fitness journey. And with each flick of your thumb, a quiet, cold, and heavy chemical weight settles in your stomach. A voice, ancient and insistent, whispers a question you didn't ask for. Why is everyone else winning? Why is everyone better than me? It feels like you are losing a race you didn't even sign up for. A ghost-like marathon against a million invisible competitors who are all, somehow, faster, smarter, and happier than you. Let's be perfectly clear. That feeling is not a diagnosis of your inadequacy. It is a symptom of a cognitive poison. What if I told you that this race isn't real? That the results are fabricated? That your own brain is a deeply flawed, biased spectator, feeding you a constant stream of corrupted data about a game that doesn't exist? Today, we are not here to answer that poisoned question. We are here to dismantle it. We're going to put that entire thought process under a microscope, expose its flawed logic, and uninstall the source code of your self-doubt, piece by painful piece. Chapter 1. The Highlight Reel versus the Blooper Reel. Here is the first and most fundamental glitch in your perception. You are comparing the raw, uncut, behind-the-scenes footage of your life to everyone else's flawlessly edited final product. Think of your life as a movie. You are the director, the actor, and the editor. You are intimately, painfully aware of the entire production. You've seen the raw dailies of your own insecurities. You've witnessed every outtake, every flubbed line, every scene where the lighting was just a little bit off. You know about the lazy Sundays, the crippling self-doubt, the sheer dumb luck that led to a win, the embarrassing failure that you cut from the final edit. Your personal blooper reel is on a constant, 24/7 loop inside your own head. But what do you see of others? You see the movie trailer. You see the highlight reel. The one perfect, color-graded shot that took them 100 attempts to get right. Social media is not a window into reality. It's a dopamine delivery system. These platforms are engineered as a social validation loop. They show you the peak moments of other people's lives, the engagement, the graduation, the successful launch, because novelty and social success trigger the reward centers of your brain. This creates an infinite, cascading scroll of everyone else's victories, a powerful illusion your brain mistakes for their normal, everyday existence. It's the iceberg illusion. You see the glorious, towering peak of their success, but you don't see the 90% of failures, struggles, and brute force effort submerged in the dark, cold water below. Chapter 2. The Spotlight Fallacy, your brain's narcissistic glitch. The next bug in your software is a subtle form of narcissism hardwired into the human condition. Your brain falsely assumes that everyone is paying as much attention to your failures as you are. Psychologists call this the spotlight effect. It's a well-documented cognitive bias where we vastly overestimate how much other people notice our flaws. Because your consciousness is the absolute, undeniable center of your own universe, it logically, but incorrectly, assumes it's the center of everyone else's universe too. You walk through life as if you are on a stage, with a giant, harsh, interrogator spotlight following you, illuminating every single mistake for a global audience. Every awkward comment, every typo in an email, every misstep. But here is the liberating truth. No one is watching. Everyone else is too busy standing on their own stage, blinded by their own spotlight, performing for their own imaginary audience. They are the main character of their movie. At best, you are a blurred, out-of-focus extra who passed by in the background for a fraction of a second. That mistake you stumbled over in the meeting, the one you've been obsessing over for a week. Most people in that room had already forgotten it 30 seconds later, because their own internal narrator was screaming at them about the coffee they spilled on their shirt that morning. Chapter 3. Survivorship Bias, the Graveyard of the Unseen. Now we get to the most powerful and dangerous illusion of them all. The reason you think everyone is winning is because the losers are silent and the winners are loud. This is a cognitive trap called survivorship bias. It is the profound logical error of concentrating on the people who survived a process while completely ignoring the vast, silent majority who did not, simply because their failures are invisible. The most famous example comes from World War II. Allied engineers wanted to add armor to their returning bomber planes. They meticulously studied the planes that made it back to base and saw that they were riddled with bullet holes on the wings, the body, and the tail. Their logical conclusion was to reinforce those areas. But a brilliant statistician named Abraham Wald realized their logic was dangerously backward. The military command, in its most logical-sounding error, was only looking at the survivors. The crucial data wasn't in the bullet holes they could see. It was in the bullet holes they couldn't see, the ones on the planes that never made it back. The returning planes had holes everywhere except the cockpit and the engine. The evidence wasn't showing them where to add armor. It was showing them where a plane could get shot and still survive. They needed to reinforce the areas that had no damage at all. Your social and professional life is that returning fleet of planes. You see the handful of billionaires who dropped out of college. You don't see the silent graveyard of the millions who tried the same thing and now have a lifetime of debt. You see the writer who landed the massive publishing deal. You don't see the thousands of rejected manuscripts gathering dust. You're trying to build your strategy by studying an incomplete dataset, and your brain's main conclusion is always the same. Everyone who tries this makes it, except me. Chapter 4. The Ancient Algorithm. Why you can't just turn it off. Here's why this is so hard to overcome. The instinct to compare is not a modern flaw picked up from social media. It is an ancient, hardwired survival algorithm that has gone haywire in the modern world. Imagine you're on the savannah, 50,000 years ago. Your very survival depends on your social rank within your small tribe. Comparison wasn't a source of anxiety. It was a life-or-death data analysis. Is Ugg a better hunter? Is Una better at finding resources? If the answer was yes, you needed to adapt your strategy immediately. If you fell too low in the tribe's hierarchy, it meant less food, less protection, and a higher chance of being exiled to face the wilderness alone. Your hierarchical primate brain was built for one primary social task. Constantly scan your environment and ask, where do I fit in? The problem is that ancient tribal software is still running on your 21st century hardware. But now your tribe is the entire internet. It's not 150 people you know. It is the curated peak performance of the top 0.001% of humanity, delivered to you in a high-speed, 24/7 data stream designed to trigger that ancient anxiety algorithm. You are hardwired to compare. You can't just stop comparing yourself to others. That's like telling your heart to stop beating. The goal isn't to stop the instinct. The goal is to stop believing the corrupted verdict it delivers. You cannot win a war against your instincts, but you can change the rules of the game. Chapter 5. The Antidote. The only comparison that matters. So if the game is rigged, how do you win? You don't. You stop playing. You change your opponent. You must shift the axis of comparison from the horizontal, you versus the rest of the world, to the vertical, you versus the person you were yesterday. This is a core Stoic insight and the only logical path forward. Focus only on the arena you command. You cannot control the success of others. You cannot control their innate talents, their lucky breaks, or their curated public image. To waste even a single watt of cognitive energy on it is to guarantee your own misery. The only dataset that is 100% accurate, the only race that is perfectly fair, and the only metric you have 100% control over is your own progress over time. But you have to make this progress tangible. You have to create your own evidence. Your brain is a terrible record keeper. You must become a meticulous archivist of your own growth. Keep a journal. Track your habits. Save your old projects. You need to create your own highlight reel to compete with the ones you see online. You need to be able to ask, what is one thing I know today that I didn't know last year? What is one obstacle I've overcome this month? Stop looking at the runner in the lane next to you. They are running a different race. Their track has different gravity. Their finish line is in another dimension. The only person you are competing against is the person who woke up in your body this morning. Your mission is simple. Be just 1% better than them by the time you go to sleep. Let's connect the code. Your brain is running a faulty program. You're comparing your own raw, chaotic footage to everyone else's polished movie trailer. You're living under a harsh, isolating spotlight that no one else can even see. You're making life-altering decisions based on the testimony of a few lucky survivors while ignoring the vast, silent graveyard of failures. And you're doing all of this with an ancient piece of survival software that was never designed for the modern world. The question, why is everyone better than me, is a trap. It is a poisoned query. It is a broken line of code that assumes the premise is true. And the more you ask it, the more your flawed, confirmation bias brain will find false evidence to prove it right. So you must uninstall the question. You must delete it from your operating system. And you must replace it with a new one. A better one. An engine of growth, not an agent of despair. What is one small, deliberate action I can take today to become slightly better than I was yesterday? Stop asking why you're losing a race that is a phantom. Start winning the only race that matters. The race against yourself. That is the only game you can win, and it is the only one truly worth playing.